Welcome back, everybody, to Beer Garden Tennis. My name's Josh, and I'm here with the Culphman. How you going, Culphy?
Josh, good to be back, ready to go. French Open action going on. We're into the first week. Plenty of talking points. Let's get it moving.
There's lots of them, and we'll get to those today. We're going to recap some of the matches that maybe we had the chance to dig into and watch a decent amount of in the first round. But first, we just want to touch on the last episode in a way. And thanks for checking that out, by the way, guys. I know it was a little bit of a diversion into maybe some conspiracy theories, for the lack of a better term, but today we're going to temper that a little bit and just tell you about a few things that we've got a problem with. So, Culphy, I know you've got something you've got a problem with this week.
Yeah, I have a problem. I have, this is a new segment, and it's going to be one that is a regular on the show, okay? I got a problem with the coverage so far of the French Open in 2024. Channel 9 here in Australia, and I'm not the only one because I've observed and seen that socials are completely blowing up in the tennis community out there, and amongst the fans, and just started very well as it normally has. Okay, with Channel 9, and generally coming on at 6:30 in the evening. In the night time, so good time slot for tennis fans. Okay, it's actually good, and if you wanted to, you could just settle on in and get plenty of action. You could go to bed at a respectable time, 9:30, 10 if you're working early the next day, or if you're a night owl, you could stay up and coverage would go all the way through to 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Fantastic. Well, how times have changed. The other evening, I got back from the tennis academy after a big day coaching, really got settled in, and I think I was in the kitchen, Josh, just making a coffee, ready to settle in and watch a couple of matches. And what do you know? Channel 9, well, no more matches this evening. And I looked at the clock, it was like 9:35 p.m. So they'd barely really been on. I know there was some rain going on around Roland Garros at the time. It's been very wet over there, but that hasn't stopped them in the past of covering matches, even if they're only the show courts where they have the roof available. At least that was some form of tennis that was going on. But Channel 9, for some reason, the first time I'd seen it, we're like, "What's rain here? We're going to shut it down, and we'll see you tomorrow for more French Open Day 3." And I was like, "Aren't there matches going on?" And it didn't take. You didn't have to be Einstein to find that information, Josh. You could just take a look at the French Open app, which you can get on your phone. Matches going on everywhere. Scores were ticking over, live up to date matches. It was like, well, look, here's a match on here, here's a match on here. No coverage on free to air television for that there. I couldn't believe it. The next day, I asked a few questions. A couple of people thought it was a bit strange. Tennis fans was like, yeah, what was the deal there? I have no idea. Never seen it before. And the attitude was, let's see how we go this evening. Okay, let's see what transpires.
It was the first time, or maybe not. Actually, they might have originated the split first round over multiple days. I know that's more common now. I think it happened at the Australian Open this year.
Yes.
So it wasn't a traditional ramp up where everything's happening on day one. They did split that.
Yes.
But I'm not defending them. I'm just putting it out there for people who don't know. The start of the French, slightly different than maybe if you're thinking Wimbledon, that all happens at the same time.
Same time,
yep.
Yes.
Yeah, continue.
And then we thought, well, let's see how it goes this evening. Surely that that won't continue. If there's matches on, hey, can we just put the match on? Even if it's not the match that we want to see, at least it's something. At least you can watch the match and go, okay, look at the schedule. Okay, this match is coming up next. I'll sit through this one because I get to see the player I want to see on the next match. Well, the same thing rolled around again, and they dished out exactly the same thing as they did the day before. So it's really disappointing at this stage. We're up to we're coming into the middle of the week. It's not good. The Wednesday, Thursday, they've shut it down. Before basically 10 p.m. at night, and we know that's there's matches going on everywhere over there. The schedules, they're behind in the schedule, but they've got the roof situation now over there. Where it's indoors, and it's just been really disappointing. It really has for the tennis fans out there, for the those that just rely on Channel 9 to produce the coverage, and traditionally they've done a fantastic job, but it seems like they're filtering all fans to the the pay-per-view service, which I believe is Stan Sport. Hey, Stan Sport do an amazing job. Don't get me wrong. You can watch whatever match you want when you want to do it. But I believe it's also, you've got to be a member of Stan Sport, but you also pay an extra fee for the sport access, which the tennis is obviously a part of that package.
So you're a Stan subscriber, and then you add it. It's like an add-on.
Like an add-on. So, yeah.
So we moved from a free-to-air coverage, if you just want to see tennis, to 2 subscriptions to the same service.
Yes.
That you also, if you happen to be in a location, because there's tennis fans all around Australia and not everyone has great internet. It used to be something that had essentially ubiquitous coverage of quality to all Australian tennis fans. Now you have to have the money, the internet service, and the availability of technology to access that internet service to be able to access the tennis.
And as you said, 2 subscriptions.
Yeah.
So it's not just, it's on Netflix. We've got Netflix. Great. We can just switch it on. No, you can switch it on and then, you pay a fee as well to access the French Open content and the coverage that you get. Hey, if you're able to do that, you're living in tennis paradise there. That's fantastic. You've got access to, at your fingertips, whatever match you want to see, replays, pre-day coverage shows, post-game coverage shows. It's all there. But, your basic Channel 9. And as you said, why are Channel 9, employing, excellent tennis panelists and there to analyse matches if we're not even when it's not even on. We're watching black and white movies that are coming onto the channel where the French Open's supposed to be on in 2024. So I got a real problem with it. That's the first problem that I have, and I think I'm not the only one out there.
I think that it's a legitimate problem, and the thing that maybe annoys me most is it plays right into a complaint that people have about tennis at the conceptual level, that it's an elitist sport. Like, a lot of people don't like that about tennis. They feel like it's an elitist sport. Mm-hmm. That could be anything from the fact that in the biggest matches, all you see is movie stars and royalty and rich people. Mm-hmm. It's always been that way, that people who are dyed-in-the-wool Aussies, I'm talking about mostly Australian people here, that have this feeling, that they look at it as though, you have to be rich to play it and you have to be even richer to go to it. So now we've moved free coverage of the sport with, in my opinion, the best commentary team available in the sport across the board. They're gone there and they're broadcasting essentially to no one other than people who are able to financially access it and know to do it. Like, how many tennis fans are out there that's like, well, where is it?
Yeah.
They're not going to, because there's no matches on.
No.
To tell you to go to Stan Sport.
Yeah.
There's one a night.
Yes.
The first night that I watched, Tom Lanovich, I went to go up and down channels on free-to-air. I'm like, wait, this is the only match? And I mean, I'm only watching this not for quality of match. It's first round, 2 players that aren't top level, is because I'm invested in seeing if she wins because I happen to be in Australia. That's not something that's going to convert a non-tennis fan to a tennis fan.
Yeah.
It's not like a blinder of a match. So your problem to me is completely legitimate.
Yeah, and it's the sport is about the more eyeballs, the normal. This is the normal thing when it comes to these networks and when it comes to their sport coverage and ratings and so forth. They want the more eyeballs on their product, on their broadcast, on their telecast, on their sport. So I just don't understand it. And it's a valid point that you made earlier on when we were just talking here pre-show in regards to the 4 weeks of coverage that we get down here when the Australian Open's on and all the lead-in events and that kind of thing, all the way late December through to the end of January, generally before the season, the summer season here is done with the professional tennis tours. Amazing time, amazing 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks of tennis, and it's non-stop. People talk about it when they go to work. There's tennis tournaments going on all over the country. It's the middle of summer. Amazing time and buzz, and everybody gets wrapped up in it, Josh, don't they? They really do. Yeah. Whether you're a tennis fan or you're not, you are for those 6 weeks. It's hard not to, because it's always on the TV. Always on the TV, free to air. There's sound bites everywhere. There's podcasts going on. It's on the radio. There's interviews, news coverage, everything like that. People get wrapped up in it for 6 weeks and then it's gone. It's done. And when these slams roll around, it's the only other time in this country and other countries, I'm sure, but especially Australia, okay, where those same fans get a chance, those eyeballs, again, connect back to the sport, okay? Now, they're just not getting that. And it's really disappointing because, it's just hard to understand and really comprehend, to be honest, because, people got to wait till, if this continues, people got to wait till really January again next year or late December when it rolls around here again. So really disappointing because it's about growing the sport, not only in this country, but, all over the world. And that's where the players come from the youngsters that see the sport, want to play the sport and go, hey, I'm pretty good at this sport and I'm athletic. I might pursue this sport. If there's no eyeballs, forget about it.
I think particularly the French Open is important because it's so different to the Australian Open. It looks different. The crowds are different. Obviously, the court and surface is different. Other than the top echelon of players, the next group of players maybe are slightly different as to who's a dark horse and who's not. In my opinion, it's the highest level of women's tennis in terms of quality of matches that I've seen in the last couple of years is the ones that happen on clay. And that might be because Iga Swiatek is just so great on clay, but she's also pulling people up to that level to compete with her. Mm-hmm. So I've seen some blinders on the clay. So they're not doing the women's game any favours either by not having it on because she's going to come here potentially as world number one next year and just like in the past, not have enough notoriety or the notoriety she should because people haven't seen her for 12 months. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the US Open's just not on at a friendly time, in my opinion, for most Aussies to watch. It starts middle of the night into the morning, so you're either asleep or at work. Wimbledon's that little bit later. That's starting at midnight. So this is the one that can still sit in prime time.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting too, moving forward, I'm not too sure what's going to go on with Channel 9 for the remainder of this week and really the second week of the Slam, where obviously it's go time then. Biggest matches are going on, but it's interesting to see how they respond. I'm sure they've been, it's been very difficult to not hear the public out there rage about this. But with Wimbledon coming up as well, similar kind of setup with your Stan Sport, your Channel 9 partnership. Will they perform the same act with Wimbledon? We know Wimbledon's the jewel of the Grand Slam crown,
jewel,
really. So that's going to be interesting moving forward, really, what goes on. Wimbledon, it holds a special place in the tennis fraternity, the tennis history. So, will they, obviously they're neglecting the French Open coverage right now. That's no doubt about that at all. Would the same thing be occurring if it was Wimbledon day 3, for example? No. Or are they going all the way through, to 2, 3 a.m. as they normally do? Time will tell, but so far, this French Open's been a disaster.
Agreed. So I have a slightly more silly problem, but I have a real problem with this. Culphy's the only one who knows about this. Tommy Paul, absolutely huge game. I like everything actually about his game. I love the determination, the ball striking. The serve is not terrible. He generates enough speed for it to be competitive. He's not hitting up lollipops to people. And I haven't seen his most recent result, but I'm going to talk about something that's not 100% tennis related. Why does he look like a council worker? Like he's dressed like someone who should be holding a stop sign, Culphy.
Yeah.
He's got the worst hats of anyone I've ever seen. There's kids in the crowd that are dressed 14 to 15 times better than the millionaire on the court. Can you explain it to me? Have you ever seen anyone that poorly dressed in a professional setting?
Oh, the hat, he's rocking the trucker hat consistently.
Yeah.
He looks like, especially with that hat, he looks like he's just rolled out onto the court and he's actually just coming from the local, pub or bar over there in the US where he's just had a couple of quiet ones with the lads.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys, I've got to go out and play round 2 of the French Open. And he's failed to change his hat.
Yeah.
So it did, and with as you said, the council worker thing with the fluorescent, uniform.
And we're not talking like a Nadal. There's a certain kind of fluoro look that Nadal's been made famous, particularly like the pinker, more purple sort of colours. But he's not the first player. Like Leighton Hewitt used to wear yellow sometimes. Like people have done it well in the past. This looks like before he went to that pub, he hadn't dressed himself in a month and he just left it all out on the line in the sun. It looks bleached.
Well, it looks like he's just come from work.
Yeah.
Where he's just knocked off,
He's flipping burgers for $2 an hour.
He's like, boys, sorry, I didn't get a chance to get changed, or I was a bit behind the eight ball. Just finished work. I just thought I'd slip in here now. And no worries, Tommy. Your shout.
Someone's mate. No, thank you.
Yeah,
better go warm up, mate.
Yeah. Didn't change the hat. No, definitely didn't change the work gear.
Yeah.
But a couple of quiet ones, and then boys, I'll catch you after round 2. Got to go out and grind for 5 hours.
So it just bothers me so much. Every time I see him, I just cannot take him seriously.
And it does bother you to the point where every single time he's on court, I get a screenshot from Josh where he just says, take a look at this guy. Just, he's got the outfit, got the hat, and hey, look, Tommy Paul, real cool dude, great fella, but, don't take offense to this, but you don't see too many other players wearing that same hat. I believe his spot New Balance. I believe. I think
they normally have really nice looking stuff.
Yeah, he's partners with New Balance there, so that they're his clothing sponsor. So he's rolling with it, and you look, as long as you're getting results, and it's that's the main thing. But interesting that you have a problem with that, Josh.
I think I just have a problem with He's a good-looking dude who's super in shape, obviously very wealthy because he wins enough matches and gets through the first few rounds of nearly everything. So he's got cash. And he looks like he just went to the bargain bin at Kmart. Like, guys, what do you got that people have pulled the tags off that I can just pay half price for? I don't care if it's long enough, big enough, too big, faded. I'll wear it backwards. I don't give a crap. I'm Tommy Paul. Righto, it's probably not. Let's get off that. Let's talk some real tennis. Yeah, but I do have an actual problem with it. I think if he wasn't actually a half-decent talent and he was getting knocked out in qualies, I wouldn't even care.
No, it's not as bad as, just quickly, it's not as bad as Andy Roddick back in the day, where when he first launched on the tour, he had the visor.
Oh,
he had the visor. And I think
the shirt that was 3X too big.
Yeah, when he approached Brad Gilbert about, a coaching partnership, Gilbert said, no problems, Andy. I think you can win slams, One thing, though. And he goes, what's that? And he goes, that visor's got to go. That's a true story. He said, the visor's got to go. You got to wear a proper hat.
That's
no
good.
one, you're not wearing a visor. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to the beach, my man,
Okay.
And he was like, okay, no problem. So the visor went.